Good afternoon and welcome to the Rotary Club of Milwaukee. Good afternoon and welcome to the Rotary Club of Milwaukee. I am Club President Darren Miller, President and owner of JM Construction. As we gather virtually today, we will open with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now, Circuit Court Judge Brett Blumey will provide our invocation for today.
Thanks, President Darren, and thank all of you. It is my pleasure to be with all of you today. As the nation held its breath last week, awaiting the election results, I found myself reflecting on the importance of breath. If you'll indulge me, let me share a few reflections on breath. It's not called the breath of life for nothing. One of the most basic functions of the human body, breathing not only fuels the body with oxygen, but it can also clear a foggy mind and help strengthen our muscles. Every system in the body relies on oxygen. From cognition to digestion, effective breathing can not only provide you with a greater sense of mental clarity, it can also help you sleep better, digest food more efficiently, improve your body's immune response, and reduce stress levels. So here is a method of breathing that I like to use, and I want to share it with all of you. It's called 4-7-8 breathing. Inhale through your nose for a count of 4 and concentrate on pushing the air into your belly instead of your chest. Hold that breath for 7 seconds and then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 8. Repeat this a couple minutes to start. My friends, I hope all of you find time today and this week to stop and take a breath. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. These months of the pandemic have been challenging for many of us, and the Rotary Club of Milwaukee has had to make quite a few accommodations. Some have been difficult. We've been gratified to hear that many of our members tell us that they believe in Rotary now more than ever, a theme you will continue to hear more about from us. Over the next few weeks, we will feature video clips of fellow Rotarians in our emails and programming. We'd like to share today a clip from Margaret Cry, who talks about her experience with the Scholarship Committee.
I joined the Scholarship Committee probably about 6 months into my Rotary membership. We have our just monthly meeting with the committee, checking in, keeping the Scholarship Committee rolling and talking about ways to improve it for the future. So then after about another 6 months on that committee, I now have been assigned my first mentee. We've spoken one time and he's just started his first year at MATC, and I am a lawyer and he wants to eventually become an immigration lawyer. Hopefully I'll be able to work with him for the several years his journey is going to take.
Thank you, Margaret. Next, past President Steve Chevalier has an announcement about our scholarship program.
Thank you, Darren. And I'm really excited to be speaking with you today about the Rotary Scholarship Program, and what a great lead-in by Margaret. You're going to be receiving a letter from the club offering you a chance to really make a difference in a young person's life by making a contribution to the scholarship program. Each student is from Milwaukee. Almost every one of them will be the first ones in their families to receive a college education, and every single one of them needs a little help from their friends. So what have we done so far? Well, it's an amazing success story, actually. Due to your support of our annual scholarship golf outing, even during pandemics and stormy weather, and your previous contributions, you have helped 25 students achieve college degrees since 2009. And you currently support more than 21 students who are facing even tougher challenges than usual, as we all know. So how do we do it? Do we simply write them a check? No way. Although a check does come after a personal interview and a vetting process through our committee. Next, we assign a club mentor, such as Margaret, sometimes two, to help them be successful. And in addition, we provide educational and other fellowship opportunities to make their path a bit smoother. So what are we asking from you? Well, obviously, we're asking for each of you to make a financial commitment to the RCM Community Trust Endowed Funds so that we can not only fulfill our commitment to this outstanding group of 21 current students, but also to continue this outstanding program for generations to come based upon a foundation that you're going to help build up. You can read more about the details of this in the letters that we're sending to you, so please take a look at them. We also have a newly enhanced scholarship tab on the MilwaukeeRotary.com, which describes the program, explains more about how you can help, and different ways to get named endowments. So thanks for listening. Thanks for all you've done in the past, and hopefully for all the things you're going to do in the future.
Thank you, President Steve, and thank you for your support and the support of Zilber for leading the way to grow the endowments for the RCM scholarship program. Next up, Rotarian Jeff Fleming has an announcement about our 2021 Rotary Person of the Year. Jeff?
Thanks, President Darren, and I appreciate the opportunity to share some thoughts about the Rotary Person of the Year. This award, the Rotary Person of the Year, is the highest honor our club confers. It recognizes professional accomplishments with particular attention to individuals who, through their work, advance important Rotary values. Again, this year, the Person of the Year Committee will rely on Milwaukee Rotary members to nominate worthy candidates. You can submit a nomination by simply emailing a one-page recommendation to info@milwaukeerotary.com, or you can send it to Michelle in the Rotary office. In this unusual year, the committee will welcome unusual recommendations. Perhaps there's a leader in academia, business, or the not-for-profit world who has taken significant steps to address the pandemic. Perhaps there's someone of note who has advanced racial equity or bridged political divides. Again, send your nominations to info@milwaukeerotary.com. The committee looks forward to seeing them. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. And I also look forward to honoring our 2021 Rotary Person of the Year next spring. We also have several social and volunteer events coming up. Our Coffee Connector group will gather virtually on Thursday morning, November 12th at 7:30 a.m. You'll find a Zoom link both in the link you sent that was sent out this morning and again in the survey email after the program. Everyone's welcome to stop by for 15, 30, 20 minutes, an hour, whatever fits your morning schedule. Just pour yourself a cup of Java and click the link to chat with your Rotary friends. Also, the Beer Connector is gearing up for the holidays and will be holding the annual Holiday Beer Exchange earlier this year to take advantage of outdoor social distancing. This exchange is happening this Friday, November 13th at 5:30 p.m. at Elwood's Patio on Water Street. Whether you're a regular Beer Connector or a first timer, they'd love to see you on Friday. The more the merrier, of course. You'll find a link again on the Facebook page and also in the email that was sent out this morning. That link will also come to you again after the program in the survey email. Check out that group on Facebook or contact Scott Glidden for more information. On the afternoon of Friday, November 20th, join us to sort food at Feeding America. Feeding America has instituted excellent COVID-19 protocols, including limiting their volunteer hours to weekdays. This is a great way to roll up your sleeves with fellow Rotarians and make a difference in the community. As you've read, food bank services are in high demand right now. See the link in this morning's email to sign up. This Thursday at our snack program, we will welcome back our COVID resident expert, Dr. Bob Gleason. He will answer your questions about what's going on right now and what to expect in the coming months regarding the pandemic. If you have questions for Bob you'd like to submit in advance, please send them to Michelle in the Rotary office. And finally, if you're joining us via Zoom or YouTube today, please use the chat function to send in your questions. And now, Paula Pennebaker, former president and CEO of the YWCA of Southeastern Wisconsin, will introduce our speaker.
Thanks, Darren. Today we have Lafayette Crump, the City of Milwaukee Commissioner of City Development. Born and raised in Milwaukee, Lafayette most recently served as Deputy Chief of Staff and Chief Diversity, Vendor, and Engagement Officer for the Milwaukee 2020 Host Committee of the Democratic National Convention. In that role, he ensured community involvement, the inclusion of local and diverse businesses, and corporate adherence to ethical, environmental, and employment and accessibility practices. Lafayette was also Chief Operating Officer of PRISM Technical Management and Marketing Services, LLC, a multidisciplinary management consulting firm based in Milwaukee with an office in St. Louis and experience across the United States. PRISM is best known for its development, management, and monitoring of programs and projects that ensure supplier and workforce diversity, inclusion, and equity, particularly on large-scale construction projects and events and within sizable organizations. Under Lafayette's leadership, challenging supplier and monitoring and workforce diversity targets were consistently surpassed, including the Milwaukee projects such as Fiserv Forum, the Northwestern Mutual Tower and Commons, the Milwaukee Streetcar, Century City, the Brewery, the Modern, and more. Lafayette also led the growth of PRISM's business development training program and regional internships in science and engineering programs in conjunction with the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District, which helped grow many of the region's most successful diverse contractors and consultants and developed and placed talented, diverse STEM students from Milwaukee with local technical firms, construction companies, and governmental units. In addition to his work for PRISM, Lafayette practiced law for a number of years, working to ensure equity for small businesses and nonprofits, and is an adjunct professor at Marquette University Law School, where his focus is ensuring that law students understand the needs, expectations, and reality of business owners. Lafayette is the past chair of the Board for Safe and Sound, a public-private nonprofit uniting residents, youth, law enforcement, and community partners to build safe and empowered neighborhoods. He is on the boards of the Salvation Army, the Visit Milwaukee Diversity and Inclusion Advisory Committee, and the Wauwatosa Equity and Inclusion Commission. In addition to his current board affiliation, Lafayette has served on the boards of the Black Child Development Institute, University School of Milwaukee Alumni Board, Greater Milwaukee Nonprofit Institute, and the State Bar Media Relations Committee. He has been recognized via the Milwaukee Business Journal 40 Under 40 Award, the Milwaukee Times Black Excellence Award, the University School of Milwaukee Alumni Service Award, and the Foley and Linford Lardner Attorney Service Award. In addition to his current board affiliation, Lafayette is a graduate of Duke University and Duke University School of Law, where collectively he served on the Journal of Gender Law and Policy, the Harassment Grievance Board, the Moot Court Board, and was president of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Lafayette has mentored and taught a volunteer for Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Junior Achievement, the Milwaukee Black and Latino Male Mentor Program, and other organizations committed to nurturing and empowering young people. With that, I give you Lafayette.
Wow. Thank you, Paula. It's great to be here and to be introduced by Paula and to have heard Jeff say a few words beforehand. I feel like this is the last several months of my life. Most recently, when I'm asked to go speak to a group or go say some words, and if I feel like my time is going to be tight and I just need some help framing my thoughts, Jeff is right there for me with better words than I could come up with. And the work that Paula and I did at the host committee, in not drawn up at all in the way that anyone would have liked it. And Paula was such a calming presence, not just to me but to others on the team, when there's so much flying around and you're trying to figure out what's going to happen, not just day to day, but how is this all going to shake out. It was really a blessing to have Paula there, as well as Raquel, but I really want to spotlight just what a calming presence Paula was. And I'm really fortunate to have had this completely unexpected opportunity to work with her. Paula was planning to ride off into the sunset, and duty called, and the city needed her, and she stepped up, and I'm really grateful for that opportunity. So pleasure to be introduced by Paula. So I just want to thank Paula, Jeff, and really all the Rotarians, not just for having me here today, but also for your service in general to our community. Vital support for things like the Milwaukee Urban Stables, and just this attitude of service that you codify as part of your mission, and that you have this expectation that everyone will do, that everyone will give back. I think you can, the things that I am most proud of in that introduction that Paula did was just the that it feels like it's in my nature to do more, to spend the time that I have making opportunities more accessible to other people. I thank my parents for that. I thank organizations I was involved in as a youth, such as Inroads. I thank University School for the recognition amongst a number of their faculty and administrators that the privileged should be expected to do even more. And whomever you are, where you land in this society, there are certain privileges that we all have, and it doesn't just feel good to give back, to do more, but it really is part of our duty as people to do that, to make opportunities greater for other people. With that in mind, I'd like to spend a little bit of time just kind of talking through everything that we do at DCD. And I think I'm finally getting to the point of feeling like it's acceptable to say that we do. I've been there about 3 months now, and I thought I knew, but I've been floored by all of the different things that DCD has its hands in, and just the incredible amount of tasks that our staff, we have staff of about 80 at DCD, and just really super committed people within the organization who really believe in the value of public service. So what I'm going to try to do here is share my screen. I've been fortunate enough to not have to do too many slideshows just yet in my time here, despite my great predecessor being the slide master. But if I'm able to share my screen here, I'm going to try to share some slides and talk through the work that we do at DCD. So give me 1 second here. So I presume you are seeing my screen now. Can maybe Paula, if you can see my screen, or Darren, can I get a thumbs up if you can see my screen? Perfect. All right, so we'll get started here. Talk a little bit about kind of all the different components of what we've got going on at DCD, and then be happy to take some questions or have a bit of a dialogue about it. So just an overview of the many different components. Of course, we have the commissioner's office. I'm fortunate to have Vanessa Koster as my deputy commissioner. Vanessa's a longtime DCD employee, great experience in the planning department, and just a font of wisdom about what we're doing internally. And I hate the phrase "where the bodies are buried," but Vanessa, can usually get me an answer pretty quickly about what we've done, why we did it, what our perspective was, what is the full administration's perspective, and how we get things done. I was very fortunate to have her, to have her be on the team and be there as I got started. Finance and administration, we've got our commercial corridors team, which does really great work throughout the city. There's been, a lot of talk in my confirmation process, and even in the initial several weeks of my work at the department, about downtown versus the neighborhoods, and not with them being combative with one another, but more so, how do we make sure that all of our attention isn't focused on downtown and we're doing work out in the neighborhoods as well. And our commercial corridors team is right on top of that, working with the business improvement districts and the neighborhood improvement districts to really ensure that the people and the businesses and the other organizations out throughout the city and in the various neighborhoods, that their input is received and that we're really looking to tackle their challenges directly. We've got our economic development team, which is really responsible for managing our tax incremental financing process, for helping to bring in businesses, for talking with developers, for really figuring out how do we do that pillar of our work at DCD to grow the tax base, to make development in the city of Milwaukee palatable. And then by the same token, our housing team, which works with the Neighborhood Improvement Development Corp, NIDC, who does a great deal of work on the residential side, ensuring that we're working on affordable housing options, that we are really making Milwaukee an equitable place for so many who call it home. Our planning division really, takes that long-term view, so we don't get caught up with just the shiny object at the moment, but really think long-term about the impact we can have and what some of the unintended consequences might be of actions that seem to make sense in the moment. Our real estate team that we acquire quite a few properties. I'll say, unfortunately, through the tax foreclosure process, but recognizing that it's a necessity. And then how do we get those back on the tax rolls? How do we improve that housing stock? How do we make sure that, through the tax foreclosure process, we aren't limiting home ownership or home rental possibilities in the city, but really increasing those possibilities. And then finally, the Redevelopment Authority, which is a tool that we have and that many municipalities have across the country to do some of the acquisition of blighted properties, acquisition of properties that are maybe a little bit tougher to develop, that are going to be tougher to have people just come in and take them on and take all of the challenges that exist with respect to those properties. So within the Redevelopment Authority, we're able to do some things to either offset some of the costs or prepare properties so that they are more palatable. These different elements comprise about 79, 80 employees. We've got a really diverse team, and it's our goal to build on that. About 56% of our employees at DCD are women, 44% are people of color. Those numbers have actually increased by 150% over the last 15 years. So we were on an uptick in terms of including voices that really look like the city of Milwaukee and that ensure that we are not just doing development at the community, but doing development with the community, that we're really getting all of the voices that we need to have internally, in addition to our goal to go out and get community input on the different things that we do. We want to have that expertise in-house of diversity of thought. So really happy to have seen that was something that was already a priority, and we'll continue to make it one as time goes on. One of the things that's going to impact that is that DCD is actually one of the departments with the highest percentages of people who are eligible for retirement over the next 5 years. So we're going to be having more than likely a number of individuals who will be cycling out of the department. Now, without question, we're going to lose some of that institutional knowledge. We're going to lose some of that experience that comes with those folks, but it is also an opportunity to bring in additional thought processes and to further diversify our team, and potentially to bring in folks from outside this community who have perspectives rather regarding work that's being done in other parts of the country, or work that's being done specifically in the private sector. So we're excited about that. You always hate to lose good people, but you hope that you replace them with people who are going to find a way to, in some way, make you even better. Our mission at DCD is to improve the quality of life in Milwaukee by guiding and promoting development that creates jobs, builds wealth, and strengthens the urban environment. And so the way that we go about doing that is through being stewards for the city's comprehensive plan, for staffing the city plan commission, staffing the Redevelopment Authority, as I mentioned, NIDC, but also the Arts Board. We do tax incremental district analysis. We assist business improvement districts and neighborhood improvement districts, manage the city's real estate inventory and sales, and administering a number of housing, commercial, and community development and community improvement programs. So I want to take you through a little bit of some of the things that we've done over the last couple of years, so you really get a sense of not just our charge, but how we've done that work, what comes out of that work that we're doing. So we try to do our work, as you would imagine, in a manner that increases economic and racial equity in the city, expands access to opportunity, and lessens displacement. And one of the ways that we've been able to achieve that is through execution of the city's anti-displacement plan recommendations. In July of 2019, the Common Council adopted the very first anti-displacement neighborhood preference policy in the nation. So it really creates an opportunity for people to stay in their homes, for people who are in the city, in neighborhoods that might be at threat of displacement or gentrification, to acquire other properties. And we also, in conjunction with Milwaukee United, MK United, launched the MK United Anti-Displacement Tax Fund, which actually recently won an award for the great work that it is doing in terms of assisting people who are seeing the value of their homes go up through some of the property acquisitions, people moving into areas, people revitalizing homes, which overall feels like a good thing. But certainly if someone is not looking to leave their home, if they've been in their home a number of years and then suddenly their taxes are going up, we don't want them to be negatively impacted by what is ostensibly a positive thing overall, but really can have a deleterious effect on individual homeowners. So really excited about that work of the anti-displacement policy and the fund to be able to help people maintain their homes. It really, that policy and that program really leverages Mayor Barrett's commitment to expand the use of tax incremental financing for affordable housing with the priority on anti-displacement. And I'll talk a little bit more later about how we're using tax incremental financing to impact affordable housing in the city. We've also got, through some of this anti-displacement work, 3 multifamily developments that are currently in development that will be the first group that are subject to this new policy, and they're going to provide real high quality, affordable housing units for existing residents, these neighborhoods most at risk of displacement. That'll be the McKinley Street School, 37th Street School, and the Community in the Corridor project over near Masterlock off of Burleigh. Really ambitious project. QL Amin along with Melissa Goins involved in that project as well. A number of others that are really looking to create, as the name says, a community within the corridor. Wraparound services, childcare facilities, recreational facilities, just really a full-on community where people can walk to where they need to go and really feel safe in their community. And we hope that'll be a model for other developments, around the city. With respect to that anti-displacement fund, more than 100 homeowners qualified for the fund in its first year, and we're expecting commensurate success in the coming year. You're talking about people who've lived in their homes for an average of 18 years, the majority of which are elderly homeowners who are often most at risk for displacement. We'll talk a little bit about foreclosures. I mentioned our team that addresses the in-rem acquisitions and sales, in-rem properties that are acquired through tax foreclosure, and then really trying to sell those properties so they get back into the hands of homeowners. There's certainly a preference that we're able to do that from a home ownership standpoint versus rental property. There's certainly a need for affordable rental housing, but we've got a dire gap in the home ownership rate in Milwaukee with respect to the total numbers and the numbers for people of color, and specifically African Americans and Latinx homeowners. And so we really want to find a way through this work and through the other work that we're doing to see what we can do to close that gap. So when you look at the numbers here, I notice when if chart is kind of thrown at you, and we could probably label this even better, but what you're seeing here is it shows improved properties and vacant land sales. So if we look specifically, for example, at the 20, pardon me, see if we can get back here. That's why they don't let me do this too often. If we look specifically at 2019 and 2020, for example, in 2019, the city acquired 694 properties. So all of the light blue bars, those are the properties that we acquired. We sold 258 improved properties and 138 vacant lots. In 2020, at least through the September numbers, we only acquired 111 properties, but we've sold 211 properties thus far. 211 improved properties and vacant lots. We'll have additional lists that'll come out this month with other in-rem properties. There continues to be a great deal of interest in city properties for purchase. It is, there is no lack of interest in getting these properties sold. And one thing that we have to do is really manage the sense of, how are these properties being acquired? Is it being done in an equitable way? Are there people who are likely to be owner occupants that are acquiring the properties? We're really looking through those things. And of course, the aldermen and alderwomen weigh in on what's happening in their districts as well. So we have to take those things into consideration as well, that sometimes they have a particular interest in what will happen with a given property. So part of our work is managing their expectations and desires with respect to those properties. So we move on to some of the other work that we've done and that we do, healthy neighborhoods, community improvement projects. One of the strategies that we have, I should say, at DCD is to improve neighborhood appearance and vitality and viability by continuing targeted investment. We have targeted investment neighborhood programs where we, try to look at work that can be done in multiple properties in a given neighborhood to really create a feel that something is happening here, that transformation is occurring. In 2019, we launched the Love Your Block program. There's lot cleanup, beautification of lots and areas. And in addition to that, in 2020, Community Cares grants through COVID providing items like chalk and art packages to residents. Just really a sense of creating that sense of ownership, and not just ownership with a capital O, so to speak, in terms of owning the property, but really owning that sense of community in a given block. We've also got ongoing success awarding housing rehabilitation contracts to minority-owned contracting firms. So really killing two birds with one stone here, revitalizing the community, but also helping diverse businesses grow, giving them opportunities to hone their skills. And it comes as no surprise that when you have businesses that are owned by people of color, creates a greater opportunity that you're also going to get a workforce of color. So it's increasing opportunity 2-3 times over. In 2019, NIDC property owners awarded over 3/4 of their contracts, more than 75%, and more than 80% of the contractual dollars to more than 20 minority-owned business enterprises. So really impacting, not just the neighborhood and how it looks, but really impacting a number of lives, and with work that we think will bear fruit, for years to come. In addition to that, a lot of assistance and support for the neighborhood improvement districts and business improvement districts. Held the first ever bid NID week to have the different bids and NIDs share their experiences with one another, share best practices, highlights of that. We had a number of bus tours to different areas of the city, the historic Black Milwaukee bid tour, historic King Drive near West Side, North Avenue Marketplace, Sherman Park, Center Street, Burleigh, all over the city in the neighborhoods, and helping people understand some of the gems that exist, and just thinking about what more we can be doing as a community to support these areas. I had a chance to hop on a couple of those bus tours, and they're really well done. We had some major events hosted by our commercial corridor team as well, a resource fair, an award ceremony for the NIDs and bids for those who are really hitting it out of the park. So just really fun event, and certainly as we get back to a time where we can all gather, it'd be great to see that continue. From farmers markets to business workshops, where people are really able to get not just the insight that's coming from the speaker, but also that connection with one another. The Fresh Food Access Fund is additional work that's come out of the department, generated via the Milwaukee Fresh Food Access Report to combat food deserts that exist in the city. This was something that was done in conjunction with Alderman Rainey, and really focused on healthy food access throughout the community by providing financial support and educational grants. $400,000 in these grants were awarded in 2020 to really ensure that fresh food, your access to fresh food, is not dependent on where you live in the city, but that it's available truly to everyone. We want that to be the case. So these pilot programs that we're able to fund and study will hopefully lead to more of the same throughout the city. Neighborhood development, which is something that one of the things that people are more likely to recognize as the work that DCD is doing, as much as people sometimes think that all of the focus is in the downtown area. Quite a bit going on throughout the city. 2019, 2020, there were 6 new tax incremental districts that have been implemented. 4 amendments to TID districts, to TIF districts, I should say. Quite a bit of investment in infrastructure and amenities, affordable housing, hotel in the central city. And in addition to supporting these developments that you see here on the screen, each of those have human resource requirements as a part of the development agreements, which provide job opportunities for city residents, contracting opportunities to small and disadvantaged businesses, and in some cases, you've got end user jobs and some discussion of end user agreements that will have multiple sectors of the community, ensured job opportunities, from hospitality to professional settings, white collar settings, industrial jobs. So the work that is done to finance these projects really has an impact well beyond the construction of the facilities or redevelopment of these facilities themselves. Also noted up here at the bottom is Harbor District Riverwalk design guidelines, something new that was developed and implemented, earlier this year. The Riverwalk in Milwaukee, which is really a success story for the city, something that started downtown, has expanded in recent years to the Menominee Valley, most recently expanded to the Harbor District. And there's just going to be some incredible work done with respect to the Riverwalk, in the Harbor District, with the Michaels development, with Komatsu, really going to be just a great expansion of that, and hopefully utilization by people from all over the city who will come down and enjoy what is being done because these new developments are occurring. So with respect to those design guidelines, there were outreach efforts in 2019 to really implement a baseline in terms of what we should be doing in terms of the Riverwalk down at the harbor. And we've got the most comprehensive set of design standards that we've had to date that really work to balance sustainability with the needs of the property owners in the area, but also ensure that we've got a waterfront that can be accessed and enjoyed by so many of our residents. Like everyone else, we've had to deal with COVID this year, and the impact of COVID and figuring out an appropriate response. I think it was really important to DCD to really just kind of figure out, how do we stay together? How do we stay unified as a department while we are working apart? Great shot here. Sure, not unknown to many people, where sometimes that's a cat or a dog in your lap. Sometimes it's a kindergartner who that doesn't care that you're on a work Zoom or go-to meeting. But our department participated fully in the furloughs that the city did, on a rolling basis. We had staff telecommute. Weekly reports, really twice a week. I mentioned Vanessa Coster at the top. She does a great job, getting out reports of everything that the department is doing, so that our staff knows, all the things that we are getting done, even in the midst of this pandemic, but also things about, what's going on at people's gardens, and what kind of things are people doing to stay sane, divisions checking in with one another. Increasing some of our staff meetings, but also, not doing it just for the sake of meeting, but just a touch point. As I mentioned, we've got a heck of a professional staff who are getting all their work done and then some. So it's not are you actually working meeting, but hey, what did you get done? Because I know it was a lot. And certainly a lot of, safety protocols in the office, as everyone else has done. To just try to keep our workplace safe. I think we've been really fortunate with the ability to do that telecommuting, and some staff are in from time to time. If they'd like to get their work done there, people are not locked out, but we are strongly encouraging people to, for the most part, work at home, and helps keep lack of a critical mass in the office at any given time. We also did, of course, shifted to webinar, like so many did. One of the cool things is we have our summer youth internship program, and it was going to be tough to actually do that, in the midst of a pandemic. And so what we did was we continued we brought those students on, but what it was an opportunity for them to learn from others, to have they still got paid, but they also just really got the full 2020 experience that we all had, webinars, and they heard from different people. within the city. They heard from not just city employees, but also people doing really interesting and diverse work throughout the community. And everyone who spoke, shared contact information with the students, offered to serve as mentors for the students, really wanted to let them know that we were here for them to help continue their development, even though this summer didn't turn out quite the way that they wanted it to. I know a couple of students reached out to me. I heard that some reached out to others as well, and we were really proud to be the conduit to that work through DCD. It was also important to us to continue to be accessible to the community, to have neighborhood planning meetings, landlord training, home buyer assistance, all online. We did not want to stop that work simply because we couldn't do it the way that we had done before. And so I'm really happy that DCD was able to continue that work apace. And then, final mention, more outreach on social media, of course, to continue to get information out about what DCD does and how we could be helpful and accountable to the community. But then also the Mayor's Design Awards, where we recognize some of the incredible work being done in the community, beautiful projects, and you can actually find all of that online. I think it's accessible both from our Facebook pages. It's also on YouTube. If you look for the 2020 Milwaukee Mayor's Design Awards, really thought it was important to continue to recognize the great work that was done over the last year. The mayor's business restart program, I think this has been one of those areas where you're really happy you've been able to do it, but you wish you could have done 100 times more. We did $15 million, or we're in the process of doing 15 million, 5 million already awarded, another 10 million underway right now that it looks like we're going to exhaust, with helping businesses stay afloat or make it back from the troubles that they've had, largely due to the lack of clientele, and the lack of funding coming in, so that they can make it through this and really be able to restart now, but also restart and recalibrate as we figure out what things are going to look like over the next 6 to 9 months. In our first round, we had over 500 grants, about averaging 10,000 per applicant. PPE in places, sort of COVID proofing them, if you will, but really finding a way to make sure that businesses were able to stay afloat. We had another 1,000 applicants for round two. About 54% of those were minority-owned businesses, 46% women-owned businesses. So really looking to assist a diverse group of businesses. We're doing that work in conjunction with MEDC, who's just been an outstanding partner to ensure that we're in good shape for any future compliance issues. And we are fingers crossed on more federal assistance, so we can really find a way to do more to help our businesses stay afloat. We know that it is only it's only partially doing what needs to be done to make sure that our small and local businesses are able to make it through this. And we're really batting around other ideas and looking at what's going on in other cities to see what more we could be doing. On the front of doing more, it's also vitally important to us at DCD to be on the forefront with respect to racial equity, both in the city of Milwaukee, in city government, but being a model for that, really, for other departments and for other entities within the city. We were not alone in picking up the color of law back in 2018. I while not at DCD then, I participated in a couple reading groups on the color of law with some other city of Milwaukee employees who were nice enough to invite me. I don't know if he's on, but I think Wendell Willis was at one of those sessions. And, you know, it's a book that really kind of smacks you in the head with a reminder of it wasn't just attitudes. It wasn't just a little bit here and there. It was an entire, you know, codified culture of making it difficult for a large swath of our community to participate in not just, you know, wealth creation, but just, you know, wealth and residential stability, and really, a shameful period in our history. I participated in a panel yesterday and was doing a little bit of research on some of our laws over the course of the years. And I saw that in 1917, overt racial discrimination in zoning laws was made illegal. So over 100 years ago, it was made illegal to discriminate, via zoning laws. And let's just think about whether or not that actually was implemented in practice, and think about all the different things that were actually implemented. And so it's important to us at DCD that we're on the forefront of doing something about that, of contributing to increased equity from an economic and racial standpoint. There were speakers in 2019. DCD has been on the forefront of the utilizing the Government Alliance on Race and Equity toolkit, and something that's going to be really rolled out throughout the city of Milwaukee. Great DCD employee Sam Leichling, who's been instrumental in that work, and we are. It's just really important to us that, as we look at how we implement our work throughout the city, that we're doing it in a way that doesn't move us backward, but instead, moves us forward. Planning and neighborhood development, is obviously a big part of the work that we do, as I mentioned, kind of looking at the long-term nature and not just, hey, we've got someone who wants to put up a great building in an area that's not being utilized. Great, let's do it. We really have to think about how does that change the tenor of the neighborhood? How does that fit in with our plans for the city as a whole, as well as specific areas, specific industries. DCD, along with the Redevelopment Authority, are partnering with the 7 industrial business improvement districts in the city to do an industrial land analysis right now. We're going to utilize that land analysis to really advance land use strategies in industrial pockets and development, of industry in parts of the city. The last study we did like that was back in 2004. And so it's really time. It's time to do that and figure out how we can utilize portions of the city that are best suited for industrial uses to grow job opportunities, to grow overall economic stability. What do our zoning regulations need to look like to do those things? How are we going to bring in and support some of the industry clusters that have identified by the Milwaukee 7, another great partner of DCD. It's been one of the cool things about doing this work is seeing some of the relationships that have been built between DCD and other institutions in town who are really all trying to get to the same place. We may have different methods of getting it done, different tools at our disposal, but we're all trying to grow the economic pie in Milwaukee and figure out how to do that in an equitable manner and make sure that everyone's got an affordable place to live, and somewhere to go to work. A couple other things I'll mention in terms of planning and neighborhood development. I mentioned those 4 TID amendments that we did over earlier in the year to assist some of the TIDs that are not performing as well economically, as we'd like. Over $12 million was donated to the Century City TID from some of the other high-performing TIDs. $7.2 million in total given to the Bishops Creek, Granville, and Mitchell Street TIDs. We recognize that while a TID is carefully considered, look at all the pros and cons, look at what we think the value is going to be, that, you never can say, but before you move on them, are they absolutely going to be as successful as you would like them to be? Some are going to be wildly more successful, and some are going to be not quite as successful. And so it's good that we are able to contribute from an overperforming TID to an underperforming TID. We're going to continue to analyze the availability and the necessity of additional donations. We had over $19 million in donations to the neighborhood TIDs from some of the very well-performing ones, just to make sure that there's no part of the city that gets left behind just because a TID didn't quite work out the way that we would have wanted it to. So some of the other the new TIDs, from Cathedral Square, Journal Square projects downtown, 3 affordable housing projects, and so a lot of great things coming up via the tax incremental financing process. We're going to move on infrastructure projects as well. We'll move those forward with intention, prioritizing all areas of the city to ensure that improvements, for everyone are available. And speaking of utilizing TIDs in creative ways to make sure that it supports all of the city, really excited about what we're going to be doing over the next year or so in terms of housing. We've got about $6.5 million in the proposed budget. We'll see how it ultimately all shakes out. The alders get their kick at evaluating it and figuring out if there are amendments that they look to do. They just passed the budget. We'll see what happens when the mayor then takes a look at how any adjustments have been made. But we're looking in the range of $6 to $6.5 million dedicated to affordable housing. Some of that is going to be in support of existing programs for the 10,000 Homes Initiative, Strong Homes, the Mary program, a lot of programs to stabilize neighborhoods, to improve housing stock, but also new programs to help with down payment assistance, credit counseling, to help move people into home ownership, which we know is a basis for not just neighborhood stability, but also in many cases family stability, and wealth creation and generational wealth. We're going to examine alternative home ownership models. So we're going to look at things like co-ops. We're going to look at land trusts. We're going to see how can we be supportive of these other models that make initial housing purchases more affordable, but also are able to help maintain some of that affordability over time. We're also looking to partner with others in the community, partner with some of our, philanthropy and business champions, whether it be Zilber, Greater Milwaukee Committee, Greater Milwaukee Foundation, Northwestern Mutual's Foundation, others who are really committed, LISC, I should mention, WIDA. We are talking to all of these different partners about how do we leverage the city funds to bring in even more local funds and even national funds to really move the needle on affordable housing here and create a model that we can replicate within other parts of the city and ensure that it is sustainable and not just a one-time hit. So we're looking to develop a broad, we would like to call it a 10-year strategy to really change what we're doing and solidify what we're doing with respect to affordable housing, because there are a lot of great things that are being done already. Some of which have been born by ideas that have come out of the council or come out of other people in the community. And we really want to figure out how to make that sustainable. Collaboration is going to be a big part of what we do going forward. I want to briefly mention, I haven't looked at the time at all, so I don't know how we're doing on time, nor have I looked at the comments, but I got a couple more slides I'll touch on, and then happy to touch on questions. The Redevelopment Authority, which is technically a separate entity, independent public corporate body, created by state statute. You have other redevelopment authorities across the state. Members are appointed by the mayor, approved by the council, And the goal of the Redevelopment Authority is to eliminate blighting conditions that really impede neighborhood investment, to promote business expansion and job creation, and housing development. And it's really important that you have the Redevelopment Authority as a tool, because they acquire and dispose of some of the most challenging properties in the city, properties that may have environmental conditions, properties where it is just cost prohibitive for someone to acquire it and do that work without the city stepping in and doing some things first. So, through the Redevelopment Authority, we're able to increase the local tax base, facilitate job growth, as I mentioned, and take the development pressures off of some other lands in the city as well. And of course, improving, and protecting the environment. Rackham has the authority to issue bonds to finance projects. And it's also really able to play some creative roles in transactions. So they can be tax credit deals, done things like creation of the Central City Redevelopment Corporation, other methods that we can utilize to again, be a little bit more creative in how we go about doing all of the work that needs to be done. Total Rackham budget, this is kind of inside baseball here, because a lot of these numbers are offset by other numbers, but essentially you've got about $7.2 million in the Rackham budget, which is general funds, but then grant funds that come from other sources. You see EPA, DNR, WEDC there, so some great partnership out of the state. And all of those dollars are restricted dollars that are required to be spent on specific matters, so that the type of work that Rackham looks to do. So I want to thank you. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk about some of the work that we do, and for the time here today. I'm really fortunate to be able to play this role and to stand on the shoulders of not just the work that Rocky did, but also our incredible team at DCD who don't do as many of these presentations, but do some really phenomenal work behind the scenes. So thank you.
Lafayette, thank you so much for being with us today and for preparing such a fantastic presentation. Also, thank you for your commitment to the city of Milwaukee. In honor of leaders like yourself who speak to our club, we will be making a donation in your name to the YWCA Southeastern Wisconsin, whose mission is eliminating racism, empowering women, promoting peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. Now we have some quick club business and news about an upcoming volunteer opportunity.
Can I say something really quick? I apologize. I was not looking at the questions in the chat at all. I don't know if you will be downloading these questions at all, but I would be happy to have you shoot me those questions via email. And I'll also give my email address out here, lafayette.crump@milwaukee.gov. So if anybody has specific questions, I'm guessing I bulldoze through the time in the great tradition of DCD commissioners. But do please feel free to reach out with those questions.
Lafayette, I will send you the questions.
Sounds good.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it. Again, it's also time to sign up for our annual bell ringing with the Salvation Army. Look for that on Saturday, December 5th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. You and your family can sign up to ring bells at 2 Metro Market locations, 1123 Van Buren and 4075 North Oakland Avenue. See the link in this morning's email to sign up for one of those hour-long shifts. Don't forget to check out the weekly survey email coming out after the program with info about the beer and coffee connector gatherings and also the volunteer opportunity at Feeding America. Remember that this Thursday at noon, we will welcome back our resident COVID-19 expert, Dr. Bob Gleason, to answer your questions about what's going on now and what to expect in the coming months. If you have questions or you'd like to submit a question in advance, please send them to Michelle in the Rotary office. Also, join us next Tuesday, November 17th, to hear from fellow Rotarian Beth Ridley, who will talk about diversity and inclusion principles and how to develop and demonstrate an inclusive mindset as a leader. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. Our meeting is adjourned.